Good morning, dear students. We are discussing about natural resources, and in the previous lectures, we discussed about forest resources and their associated problems. Today, we'll discuss about dams, their merits and demerits. So, let's start our today's lecture. A dam is a structure which is built across a stream, a river, or an estuary to retain water. The dams has been constructed since long back for meeting out the demands of the people for different purposes. So dams serve multiple purposes such as generation of electricity, aquaculture, irrigation, supporting tourism, recharging groundwater as well as controlling floods. Uh, Construction of dam is associated with hydropower projects when we talk about electricity generation through dams. A hydropower generates more than 4,000 terawatt hours of electricity globally every year. That is enough to supply over 1 billion people with clean energy. So, dams are uh, greatly participating in the various sustainable goals such as providing green and clean energy to the all people. So dams are very important to the mankind. But all these dams, their constructions is associated with certain benefits as well as drawbacks. So in this lecture, we are going to discuss about the merits as well as demerits of dams. So first of all, we'll see what are the merits of dams. The dams can be used for the generation of electricity. In India also, near about 25% of electricity, the total electricity is generated by hydropower energy. So one fourth of the total energy production of India comes from the hydropower. So this is the major benefit of dams, that the stored water can be used to run turbines, which in turn can generate electricity. If we look at these datas, you will see that in 2019, the total world hydropower installed capacity was increased up to 1308 gigawatt, and compared to the energy production in 2018, this is 1.2% more. So every year the different nations are increasing their installed capacity by constructing new and new hydropower projects, and under those projects different sizes of dams are also constructed. Now if we look at the new capacity that was added in 2019 year only, and that was 15.6 gigawatt of additional capacity was added to sorry, to the installed capacity, to the installed hydropower capacity. And if we compare this with the installed capacity that was increased in 2018, so it is bit less, because in 2018 21.8 gigawatt of capacity was added compared to 2017. But you can see through this figure that every year we are adding, every year we are increasing our hydropower installed capacity. The total hydroelectricity which was generated in 2019 was 4306 terawatt hours, and this is 2.5% more compared to the hydroelectricity generated in 2018. Now if you look at this figure, then you will see that the additional hydroelectricity which was generated in 2019 was 106 terawatt hours, and this is almost equivalent to Pakistan's annual electricity consumption. So a large capacity was added in 2019, and it is being added every year to the world global hydropower installed capacity. Now we know that electricity generation by a hydropower project is a clean process, because we do not use any kind of fuel for generation of electricity. What we do in thermal power plants, we burn coal and other fuels for generation of electricity. But in case of hydropowers, we use the kinetic energy of water for uh, running turbines, uh, which in turn generates electricity. So the data says that the generation of electricity by hydropower saved an estimated 80 to 100 million metric tons of carbon emissions. If we would have used coal for generating this much of energy, it would have generated 80 to 100 million metric tons of carbon emissions. So, generation of electricity by hydropower projects also support uh, control of global warming and reduction in carbon dioxide concentrations in the atmosphere. India in 2019 has overtaken Japan as a fifth largest world hydropower producer in 2019. By 2018, India was at sixth position, but we have crossed Japan by increasing our installed capacity in 2019, and our installed capacity now has reached near about 50 gigawatt in a year. So that is the importance of dams for generation of electricity, and the role of different countries in expanding their hydropower installed capacity. Now, this graph will tell us the global hydropower installed capacity by 2019. So, you can see there are names of some countries on the y axis, and on the x axis I have taken their installed capacity. So, China is on the top. China has an installed capacity of 356.4 gigawatt, and on second number we have Brazil with 109.06 gigawatt installed capacity. At third position is US, fourth is Canada, and India is on the fifth position. Japan now has reached below India at sixth position with an installed capacity of 49.91 gigawatt. So these are the top 10 countries with their hydropower installed capacity by the end of 2019. So that was a graph which tells us about the installed capacity of some of the top countries in terms of hydropower generation. Now, the second merit of the dam could be employment opportunity. We know that whenever dams will be constructed to any area, and usually such areas are hilly areas where the rate of employment is very less, employment opportunities are very rare. So, whenever dams are constructed to these areas, it creates a huge scale of opportunity to the opportunity of employment to the local people. So it helps in giving jobs to the thousands of peoples. The third merit could be irrigation. Dam water is stored dam water can be used for irrigation. The dams store and provide water for irrigation, so farmers can use the water for growing their crops. The next could be drinking water supply. The water stored in the dams is a fresh water, so it can then be used for drinking water in the nearby towns and cities. Another merit could be flood control. We know that dams retain water, so whenever there is peak season of monsoon, then the running or flowing water, rainwater, can be stored in the dams. So they can help in controlling the flood. Otherwise, this excess water can bring floods to the downstream areas. So dams catch extra water so that it does not run wild downstreams. The next merit could be tourism and recreation. The place where dam has been constructed can be used as a tourist place, and it can also be used for various recreational activities. So they are the dam site is a wonderful site for tourism and recreational activities. The next merit could be transportation. The dam water can be used as a water transport mode, so they can also help in transportation activities, etc. So the another merit of the dam construction could be control of greenhouse gas emissions. We know that hydropower is a low carbon technology, and this helps in mitigating the carbon emission of fossil fuels. Hydropower generates more than 4,000 terawatt hours of electricity globally every year. So that is sufficient to supply over 1 billion people with the clean energy. If a hydropower was replaced with burning coal, such as thermal power plants, more than 4 billion metric tons of additional greenhouse gases would be emitted annually. And the global emissions from fossil fuels and industry would be at least 10% higher than what it is at present. So, thus, it supports the climate, it supports the environment of Earth by controlling the greenhouse gas emissions to the atmosphere. Dams can also help in local area development, because wherever the dam will be constructed, that area uh, gets developed in terms of good transportation, good roads, establishment of medical facilities, educational facilities, etc. So the local area gets developed by the construction of dams. The dams can also support generation of revenue to the state, because lot of activities will be carried out to a place where dam has been constructed, such as tourism, recreation, etc., or water sports. So this generates extra revenue to the state, so they help in revenue generation also. So these are the merits or benefits of dams. Now we'll discuss about the demerits of dams. Dams are also associated with certain drawbacks, which could be: first, the major drawback of the dams is loss of biodiversity. We know that wherever dam will be constructed, the large number of vegetation will be cleared off from that area. So it brings loss to the biodiversity of this planet. Then dam construction may result in change in the migratory routes of the fishes, because river water will be diverted whenever dam will be constructed. So it may result into a change in the migratory routes of the fishes. The third demerit could be relocation and resettlement of the local people, because dams are constructed uh, at a place where there could be chances of risks, such as floods. If dam gets break, then the local people are relocated to the another place, and they are resettled. So whenever dams are constructed, there are issues related with the relocation and resettlement of people. We know that when Tihri Dam was constructed in Uttarakhand, so on a large scale, the local people of that area were shifted to Dehradun and adjoining areas. So relocation and resettlement of local people is a drawback of dam construction. The cost of installation of dam is very high. It takes near about 5 crores of rupees to construct a hydropower project of 1 megawatt capacity. So this is a high cost. So it's a costly process. Construction of dams require large amount of money, this can also be considered as a demerit. Then there is a problem of sediment deposits in the reservoir, because whenever running water will reach to the dam from the catchment area, it will bring sediments of uh, rocks as well as soil along with it, which is a natural process, and all those sediments will now get settled at the bottom of dam. So there is a problem of sediment deposits in the dam, which results into decrease in the water storage capacity of dam in the near future. So that's also a demerit. Then there is loss of land, because the land where dam has been constructed, either it was a forest land previously, or an agricultural land, or residential land. So whenever dams will be constructed, all these lands will be converted into a dam for storing water. So there is loss of land in case of dam construction. It also results in a change in the weather pattern, because storing such a huge amount or such a huge volume of water will result into more and more transpiration, more and more evaporation from the dam surface, and that will result into change in rainfall pattern of that area, change in the level of humidity in that area. So it also changes the local weather where dams are constructed. Dams also result into waterborne diseases, because stagnant water is a place for breeding of number of mosquitoes, viruses, etc. Then waterborne diseases may increase in that area because of dam water or dam construction. So these are the demerits of dams. So we have seen that construction of dams has certain advantages as well as disadvantages, but this is a need of all the nations to build more and more dams for meeting out various purposes of the people of that nation, such as electricity generation, water required for irrigation, for recharging groundwater, etc. So that was all about today's lecture. In the next lecture, we'll take some other natural resource and discuss in detail more about that. Thank you.